when thinking about what book I wanted to bring today, I took into account this week that I've just encountered. I was fortunate enough to be invited to speak in Tennessee. So I was in the good old Nashville, had a wonderful time, fantastic people, great opportunity to speak with some amazing minds. Yeah, I felt loved, and of course while I was there, that I had to look for a library or a museum. So
Of course. Of course.
so since the lovely Vanderbilt University has things all around, museums of all kinds. So but I happened to find one of the jewels of Nashville, which was the Paratheon, where Athena is represented, where the Parthenon, the Parthenon, where uh, um, Athena is housed. This huge replica of the Parthenon in Greece. And so I was like, I cannot leave here and not go inside this place. Athena, represented by number 3, color gold. She it was worshipped, all over in several places, but we see these traces of that mostly in Greece. And now what I found is Nashville, that they call Athens of the South. Did not know that. You learn something new every day. I like that. So, I'm saying all this to say that I went into this this beautiful space and saw this huge, replica of Athena, and I was inspired. Athena, in the study of the goddesses, anybody that's done any work with MaWu Lisa Temple, we have a goddess workshop that we do once a year. Fun time, fun time, fun time to connect to all the histories of the goddesses. But Athena is one of those that while we see her as a goddess protector, we also see her as one of nurturing. And that was what I wanted to bring this week. So we are in Cancer season. We are flush full into it. And there's nothing more mothering than this season, more nurturing than this season. And while I was there, when I travel, I tend to take time to reflect and think about, how I'm doing, like do a check-in with myself. So taking that time to nurture my own spirit. And in this season it was easy because the universe, the energies are open to that type of energy right now, very nurturing energy. And I don't know if you are experiencing that, but right now we're having the full moon. It really is it's like you can feel it in the air. And so I was taking this time to reflect upon, where I needed nurturing, and what may not be healed in me, and what I could use to continue on this healing journey. And like I said, I was there speaking to a group of students, and what we were talking about is we were talking about building community. Now they were talking about building community around their sciences, their PhD programs, but I thought about the communities that we build around us to continue our nurturing. And I started thinking, wow, a lot of my community is gone in terms of the nurturing aspect of it. My mother, my grandmother, my great grandmother, my aunts, I'm without that part of my circle, that part of the nurturing. And so when I thought about what still needed healing, I thought about this particular book here. So this is Buffalo Woman Comes a Singing. Oh, what you see is a MaWu Lisa Temple bookmark, y'all. Y'all see that? Get your bookmarks. Get your bookmarks. $5, 3 for 12. There you go. But anyway, you see Buffalo Woman Comes Singing. This is by Brooke Medicine Eagle. This book came out in 1991. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful offering. Nice and juicy. Beloved teacher, earth keeper, and visionary. I came across this book at a time when I realized that the community I had didn't have a lot of structure, and that a lot of the wisdom that was amongst us was not being fully used in ways that could benefit us to the things that we actually said we wanted to do. You know, you hear people talking about, oh, they look for their tribe, they want to do this, they want to do that, but they don't realize that many times that tribe is right there already. It just needs refinement. And that's another one of the things that Athena deals with is refinement. So taking all of these signs into account, when like I said, I had another book that I wanted to share on nurturing, but I found this one to be the one that I wanted to go to because of the way that she addresses nurturing in this book. So a little bit about the author. Like I said, her name is Brooke Medicine Eagle. She's an earth keeper, visionary, teacher, poet, and psychologist who was raised on a Crow reservation in Montana. Now, in Buffalo Woman Comes Sing, she traces her spiritual development from her first guided steps on the medicine path to her ongoing work as one of the most highly respected Native American teachers of the modern era. Buffalo Woman Comes Singing explores fascinating uses of traditions like the medicine wheel, healing through ritual action, dream time, the moon lodge, the woman's place of retreat, and visioning. These powerful personal tools integrate ancient wisdom with contemporary experience as the Buffalo Woman calls each spiritual warrior to her own true place in the dance of life. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Yes, I love that cover art.
I do too. I do too. You know, esoteric art. Yes, yes. We know it. We know it well. There we go.
Sun and the moon.
Yes,
Yep.
so much
Phases.
symbology. So much symbology. And we find that spread out throughout her book as well in black and white. She packs this book pretty full, you know. Like I said, it came out in 91. I was looking for books to use to unite the women that I had in my charge. And I was looking for ways to do that through more natural ways of doing so. You know, we've allowed our own culture to be sold to us in these I'm just gonna call it for what it is, these weird packages, instead of just going back to our roots. And that's what I was looking for, ways to get us back to our roots. Now I know people will argue about native, indigenous, who was already here, all that stuff like that. I'm talking people, y'all. I'm talking grandmamas and mamas and mamas and mamas and mamas. And this wisdom is wisdom that knows no bounds. It only knows the divine feminine and the divine masculine. So I ask you to refrain from saying what is native, what's not, what was here, what was not. It's about using the information to better your experience right now. Because if we are ever going to get healed as a people, the women have to first understand that they need to be nurtured and know how to nurture the communities around us, our men, our children, how to educate ourselves, how to keep ourselves healthy, all of these different things. So again, in this spirit of cancer season, bringing this book really speaks directly to that way of getting to practical practices that allow us to do so. So I like to read here from the introduction, if I may, um, and just highlight a couple of sentences here. It says, all of humanity is looking for new ways to move forward, ways that will solve current problems without creating new ones. I think so many times we uh, make things more difficult than they have to be. And so bringing books like this, it's my intention to bring us back to a more simple way, a more efficient way of uh, not only continuing our own healing journey, but be the example we need to be in our communities to help others do the same. um it says this quality of attention, paying attention to the whole, is called among my people holiness. So what she's saying here, this is not, like I said, about one religion or another, or focusing, as she says, on some white bearded god or any other spiritual figure. This is about understanding your place here in the world, in the cosmos, etc. And not only that, what you're supposed to be doing while you're here. We tend to get caught up in, we supposed to be doctors, lawyers, whatever, this, that, and the other. We are here to experience this thing. And I say, let's do it. Let's do it together, out loud, out loud. It says, we definitely did know something about our former uh ways. And like I said, she mentions here that she was raised on a Crow reservation. And I'm just going to read this part to you about grandmothers. Now, whoever has ever heard me talk know that I love being a grandma. I'm going to tell you now, being a grandmother brings a new level of joy to my life that I can't even put into words. But when it talks about grandmothers here, it says that they've stepped in and with spirit and intention as peace councils. Their actions have not been so public. Rather, they are centered in spiritual work in small, quiet groups, or as we call them, hoops, circles of women who have come together with intention to nurture and protect. To nurture and protect. We are in cancer season, y'all. Look, UnRead Book Review, keeping you right here on the post of things. Nurture and protect. Their functions have included holding all people together in their hoops of oneness, letting people know you are a part of community. We are one, right? Weaving their spider web tapestries of peace amongst the people, going out and doing things in community, showing by example how it looks to be a part of something greater than yourself, adding yourself to the oneness of, right? And it says, encouraging the use of plant medicines to help us create patterns of harmony within ourselves, teaching us to go back to natural ways of eating and healing ourselves using herbs. Struggling over marriage baskets whose power is in the meddling poles within us, whether male, female, left, right. What she's saying is be support systems to those who are in relationships, who are having hard times, new people who are just looking for ways to be better in whatever roles that is that they live in their day-to-day lives. And finally, creating shields or hoops of women in a circle worldwide devoted to the prayers of all people. So just reminding women all over the world that we are all at some point grandmothers, whether that's biologically or just spiritually. And it's part of our job to do nurturing here on this space, on this earth. Now, I wanted to share this one picture here because I told you in black and white, she had some pretty nice symbology in here.
Oh, wow.
See that?
Mm. Yeah, that's beautiful.
It is a beautiful picture. Beautiful. Okay. And it says here, Grandma gave me even more than a personal relationship with her, a relationship with the power she served, the sacred bundle of the lodge and its feminine nurturing and renewing power. You know, I can't express enough how much nurturing means and how much having a way to get that nurturing is vital. I was reminded of that again on this trip. Like I said, it was an amazing trip. And you know, one thing I have to say, I don't go a lot of places, even though I love to travel. But you know, I don't go a lot of places, but when I go places, I always have these like phenomenal interactions, right? So I'm sitting outside the hotel, just taking in the Memphis sun. I mean, excuse me, the Nashville sun, because you know it had been raining up here. So I'm getting all that Nashville, like, ooh, you know, cook me up, brown me up, you know, and charge me
Mhm.
up. And this beautiful older sister comes and she sits next to me on the bench and she talking to me about soaking up the sun. So we just get to chit chat and she telling me about her life and you know her travels around the world and blah blah blah. And she says to me at one point, "It's so nice talking to you." She said the young people don't even really want to talk no more.
Mm.
And I was like, ma'am, you could never talk too much for me because I live for this right here. And I said to her, my next words,
Mm-hmm.
I said, you know, I lost my mom and all my aunts and my grandma. I don't have any older women in my family to talk to. I said, sometimes I feel so alone because I'm like, who nurtures me? And at this very moment that I said this, a cardinal came and flew and sat in the tree.
Hmm.
Now, for my birdology people who understand symbolism in that way, we know cardinals are our ancestors visiting us, talking to us, giving us messages. At
Wow.
that moment, I realized my ancestors are trying to let me know I wasn't alone. At the same time this was happening, the woman grabbed my hand. Now, mind you, I don't know this woman from nowhere. And she
Mm-hmm.
said, "You are not alone."
Mm. Woo.
The cardinal flew away, and guess what? Flew right by us and flew back into the tree.
Mm. Wow.
Okay? We need that nurturing. Sitting there with that woman helped me, reminded me that no matter how alone I felt in this walk, in this journey, sometimes, that my mothers and my mother's mothers, they are all still here providing that divine feminine nurturing energy, and it is pouring through. And it's part of my continued duty to do the same. And so this book here, one of the things that it emphasizes is learning that nurturing doesn't only have to be done by women. It's an energy, not a person.
Mm.
You know what I mean? It's divine feminine. Is nurturing. When I think about our young men, much of what is a challenge for them right now is because they haven't had divine masculine nurturing.
Mm.
They've had a lot of over emotional feminine energy. And I'm saying that of a mother, as a mother of sons. I'm saying that as someone who has challenged myself since they were small to give them that balance. But I knew that it was some nurturing that they needed that came from the outside. So when I talk about the grandmothers stepping up, the elder women in the elder women in our communities stepping up, the rising elder women in our communities stepping up, I'm asking them to take a look at the importance of the men in our lives having nurturing. There are grown men right now that need nurturing in order to be able to help us with these children as they stand right now. We have a problem, and it is daily getting worse. And getting back to our natural selves, getting back to that nature and nurturing spirit that we have, because it's their nature to be what they are, but it's nurturing that determines how they use or abuse those things, those gifts. So when I present books like this and it talks about the divine feminine, I don't want our men to shy away. I want you to come and talk with me, talk with us. We'll show you how you can take the practices of something like what's offered here in Buffalo Woman Comes Singing and other books like the one I offered last time, The Quest. And for those who are still interested, we will be doing some talks on that with question and answer segments for you to be able to ask questions about setting up your own vision quest, but also about doing this type of work. So we'll be doing that all in the same, because as you see and remember in the beginning, she talked about creating vision quests and medicine wheels and things that help us along that journey about getting back in touch with our nurturing side. So my offering for this Saturn day, Buffalo Woman Comes Singing, Brooke Medicine Eagle, a great book. This is one that you keep on the shelf for reference, always going back to it. Some really great chapters in here. And she pulls from stories of her own life, but we'll be able to quickly see that many of those universal stories are applied to some of the things in our lives as well. And again, just, even sitting with some of the symbology in here is just amazing.
Wow. Look at that. Mm. It's amazing.
So this is my offering for this week. And I'd like to give a shout out to those elder ladies who sat with me on the bench and reminded me that I'm not alone and that I was on the right path by doing the work that I do. So I am so grateful. And like I said, it was an amazing week. Thank you, Nashville, Tennessee.
Yep. Yeah. See. Yep. See. Sometimes you just need to get away physically in order to get that clarity and get that confirmation. And
Absolutely.
oftentimes you might not know what you're going to get out of that experience. You know, you go with the intention of just doing what you were doing at a Vanderbilt, but there was a another purpose, another calling, a higher purpose for you being there. You know, aside from just teaching your classes. You know,
Absolutely. A
and
reminder, the reminder benefits the believer. When you do this work, this is very lonely work for people who don't know it. This is why I think projects like the one we're doing right now and some of the other things we do, this is why it's so important, because this is very lonely work. Just like the elders reminded me, once you see, you can't unsee, which makes it part of your responsibility. Bars. You
yeah,
understand what I'm saying?
uh-huh.
That is bars right there.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
So
is.
my thing is, I seen what I seen, so I can't unsee it. So I gotta do my part. I
Yeah,
gotta do my
true.
part.
It's true. It's true.
And nurturing is something that you know we constantly, we'll always need it. It's not something like, oh, you get nurtured one time and it's you good for the rest of your life. Like, nah, man, life be life. And you need some reminders, you need some gentle healing, some space of peace and respite.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we should be providing for our community. We should be providing these spaces. And so at MaWu Lisa Temple, we are doing our part to create and provide those spaces. And we welcome those in need of respite and nurturing and healing and just some place to um convalesce and refresh and get strong. So yep, that's my offering, and I feel I really enjoy this one, and this is a great book with some really great tips.
Yes, yes. It sounds like it. And I'm not sure if you mentioned at the beginning when you got this book, but I'm curious to know when you got it uh, to because I'm curious about how your experiences and your outlook towards nurturing and the lessons that you got from this book have evolved over time from the time that you first got it and read it till now.
Okay, so I came across like they said, the book was published in 91. I didn't come across the book until 99. And like I
Still a bit
said,
of
at
time.
that time um I had been elected as the woman to sit over our sisters, or with our sisters, in charge of their education. I'm a dean of education for my organization. So at that time I was looking for ways to fellowship. I didn't grow up in a community where um they taught us how to fellowship. We saw it. We saw our aunties and our moms and everybody get together, but they didn't always encourage that amongst us or explain to us the importance of it. So, I didn't have a lot of that. So when given charge of these women, I wanted to be able to offer them as much information from a variety of sources that I could. So knowing that we were moving back towards a more holistic approach to sisterhood, um, I found that, looking on the continent, looking at early works here in the Western world, what people call North American, or little Africa, whatever you want to call it, here in on this continent. I look for those kind of works, and I found them in some of the native teachings, the Lakota, the Crow, the Cherokee. I found them in these different practices. So that's what kind of drew me towards this particular book.
Okay, okay. Now, yeah, so 99, that's been some years. So tell me about from 99 to 2025. Were there any lessons that maybe didn't resonate as much back in 99, but they resonated more with you into the 2000s, into the 2010s, or the 2020s, or anything like that? Tell us about that evolution for you.
That's man. That could be a whole TED talk. But what I'll say is that I always craved community. I'm Aquarius. Groups and organizations. I like people. I don't always like people, but I like people. And so in that, I was always open to the idea of the offerings that's in this book, talking about, community and things. I was a grandma's baby. So, the parts about the importance of a grandmother and aunts and, and mothers, that resonated with me right away. So over the years, what I think has changed is my ability to be able to use the wisdom of our grandmothers and our mothers in a different way. And the example I'll give is, some of the sayings my mom used to say, like, everybody not your friend, everybody don't like you, and things like that. And when you are growing up in this society, they make that very superficial. And so it always make it look like women are catty towards each other. But what I found was that it wasn't that. It was that we didn't know how to accept that, on the real level, rejection. You know what I mean? So if somebody didn't like us, we either did one or two things. We tried to people please them, or we tried to just be like, oh, well, she just don't like me, is, blah, 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 meet it with hostility. And one of the things that the practices in this book have helped me with was recognizing that has nothing to do with me a lot of times, people's responses to things, and that as long as I continue to be just me all the time, that which is for me will be with me, and that my sisters, the ones around me, may not always be identical to my walk, but they are very necessary, because it's women who resonate with their energy too. I used to want to lean towards having sisters who was only about harmony, like all that chaos, all that nonsense, all that like I didn't want none of that around me. And I still don't, in the ways of negativity, like gossiping, and I won't tolerate any of that. But some of us are what they consider angry on the outside. So we present a little, they present a little hot. And for somebody that don't present hot, that can be like, whoa, am I going to be able to sit in a healing circle with this sister? But we have to remember her journey, for whatever it was, made her hot. And there's some other hot sisters too. So this book has just showed me that the importance of having a sisterhood that has a variety of personalities and all of that is possible, and doesn't have to be this space of competition or cattiness, because everybody's presence is necessary.
Yeah, yeah.
Every type of personality is necessary.
Mhm. Yep, yep. And that also speaks to the not the timeliness, but how timeless this book is, because you're touching on themes and topics that were relevant when the book came out in 1991 and are still relevant in 2025. So it's interesting to see how what's needed hasn't changed, but it's also interesting and great to see that you're able to gain new insights over the years as you evolve, you know, from being a granddaughter to becoming a grandmother. So that's a beautiful thing. And I also love that you mentioned the importance of nurturing for, you know, the young men also. That's something that came up in our conversation a couple of years ago, during the healing chambers, in discussing of nurturing. And that's a point that we brought up in both the definition of the word nurture, and I also brought that out in the numerology of the word nurture as well. So that was a great reminder of that importance of nurturing for both young men and young women.
Absolutely. You know, I'm like this. We can't expect our men to heal and get strong and be these protectors and maintainers of the women if we don't allow them to be. And the only one that can teach them how to do that are the men who are healed and ready to lead in that way. And that requires help from the women.
Mhm.
It requires our help. You know what I mean? My father used to say that everything a man do is for a woman. Everything he do, the way he walked, the way he talked, the way he smelled, the way he dressed, you know, all of it is for a woman in essence at the base of it all. You know what I'm saying? Because if it's up to men, they just, you know, most men just walk around, you know, not trying to peacock. But if you notice, even the peacock is the male is the most beautiful. They the one walking around flopping all their pretty feathers out. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, you know, that requires a level of confidence that comes with proper nurturing. You don't want no, you don't want men running around here teaching young men to be cocky and arrogant or whatever. We want them to have them understand the fine balance of being, you know, having pride in yourself and presenting yourself in a manner that is befitting of, you know, the station that you are and the station you want to be in.
Mm-hmm.
We can't be walking around here calling ourselves all these mighty titles and we have, you know, peasant behavior,
Mm. Right.
savage
Right.
behavior. We supposed to be all wise and civilized.
That's right.
You know, so my thing is, when we going to get back to that? And you know what? Better yet, here's my challenge. I won't even say get back to that. I say let's get to that. Let's stop. Let's okay. We did what we did. We can't even go back and do that again. Let's do now. We
Mhm.
supposed to know better, so we supposed to do better. We got
Right.
all that history of what worked and what didn't. Now what we gonna do?
There you go.
We right here, right now. I'm giving the charge. I'm telling you, it in this book here, and in the book that we presented the last time, the quest.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? You can see ways to create your own journey, your own walk, your own ritual, if you will, to helping your self refinement to get you to a place where you are spiritually sound, balanced, harmonized, all wise and civilized.
That's right.
But it's going to take work, and it's going to take us helping each other. And the level of vulnerability that's needed, you know, is hard to come by. When we have books like this, we're not asking you to follow it page for page, word for word. These are conversation starters. These are conversation starters, because the other ones, the other conversation starters come way too hard. As my dad said, Prince, shout out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Got.
we got to start somewhere. And I say,
Exactly.
we take the time when the seasons are open like this and the energy is in abundance. You know, it's nurturing energy right here to be pulled down right now. Use it. Use it. Nurture yourself. Take some time and sit. Think about what needs healing and a hug inside you. That cardinal flying into that tree. And by the way, right before I left, me and the lady was sitting there. And not only did a female one come, a male one came too. And they sat right there until I got in my Uber and left.
Wow. Well,
So
what
my
more?
ancestors were letting me know, the men and the women were letting me know,
Woo.
I got your back.
Ooh, he got the balance in there too. What more confirmation do you need?
I didn't need no more. I didn't need no more. And that is why I'm presenting this book today. I tell people like this: conversation starters with yourself. Know what needs a hug in you. I needed a hug, and them birds came and gave it to me.
Listen, that's so real, because you all don't know the conversations me and Ruby having behind the scenes. And I'll just say this. I won't go into too much detail, but I'll just say this. Rue was definitely having some doubts about whether she was on the right path or the right track, or whether she was doing the right thing. So that's why I'm like, so I'm just so blown away by, and I didn't hear the story about the conversation she had with the woman and seeing the Cardinals. This is my first time hearing that part of the experience. So, and then along with the book, just wow.
And the Temple of Athena.
Yeah, Temple of Athena too. Yep. Well, that's very. The synchronicities are all there, and that was a beautiful offering.
Thank you.
Yeah.